It's refreshment time, folks.
I have to return some videotapes.
Are either one of these any good?
I don't watch movies.
Do you like scary movies, Sydney?
You have a TV?
No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only...
Finish it.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Tonight on 6 Ed World.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers Podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hello, and welcome to episode 43 of the Frog Brothers Podcast. I'm Alec.
I'm Justin.
Nicholas is over here, although we don't have a mic set up for him today. But some of us might thank us for that. Some of you might thank us for that.
Even his own mother thanks us for that.
Yeah, well, she borrowed the microphone. You can guess why.
Was it for Fruit Looping? I think it was for Fruit Looping.
Yeah. I heard about this new thing on the H3 podcast they interviewed this girl who has an OnlyFans. And she was talking about how she was Fruit Looping. She had some requests for Fruit Looping, which, if you don't know, I will gladly show you now, is when a girl, or I guess anybody, gapes their asshole and pours a bowl of Fruit Loops in it and eats someone else or them. I guess she could eat it out of her own ass, or you could eat it out of your own ass. If you could do that, more power to you. That's generally what it is, Fruit Looping, and I have a high interest in this now. How about you?
I'm okay, but I mean, if Nick's mom wants to do it, the price is right, money talks. So
I don't know about that one.
Everyone is for sale for the right dollar amount.
I'd Fruit Loop myself.
I know you would. I envision you trying to do this and walking in and seeing you on the couch doing that, and I have fucking nightmares of it. So thanks for that.
You might see it tomorrow.
I was worried I was going to see it today when I got home from work. So this week we had
lots of interesting stuff.
It's been a pretty wild week.
With the whole insurrection thing, which we won't get into. You pretty much, if you listen to this podcast, you know how we feel about
Yeah, I was going to say, if you know us, you know our opinions on that. So yeah, that's pretty much going to sum it up.
What can we say that has not been said better by other people and memes on the internet already that you've seen probably?
Yeah.
You've heard, you know.
And we're not going to change your opinion if you already had one. So we'll leave it at that. But beyond that, a little bit of news in the world, man. There's not a whole lot going on besides,
toy hunting right now.
Yeah, lots of toy hunting. The ghost poppers are hitting the wild. We have tried and failed to get those.
People have been seeing the ectotrons also.
Yep, some folks have found those.
As far as I can tell, nobody is seeing the Plasma Series Ecto ones, just the tags in stores. A few overseas people have gotten them, but they are supposed to be shipping out to anybody who pre-ordered them later this month. So
yeah. Target pushed mine out, and they said I should get it by the 15th, and then they pushed it out another week and said the 22nd, which coincides with the date that Walmart gave me for the pre-ordered Ghost Poppers was January 22nd. So I don't know if that's shipping date or arrival date, so we'll see.
Yeah.
After already seeing them pushed and not found in stores yet, that's kind of what I'm wondering is what's going to happen with that, so we'll see. Still looking for the Doc Brown figure from the NECA Back to the Future series. So.
I keep forgetting about it, but I'm also looking for the Toonie Terrors.
Yeah, the only new one I've seen really lately is Sam from Trick or Treat. And,
I want to get Beetlejuice, Reagan, the Shining Twins, and Ghostface in that series of the new ones. So.
Yes, there's some good ones. Once they actually start putting those out again, there's some awesome ones to collect. So
yeah. Other than that, not a whole bunch more in toy news or anything like that, or even in movie news. Really, we talked about Wonder Woman last week for a brief minute.
Yeah, we're sorry if you watched that. You can ask Warner Brothers for a refund.
Yeah.
I doubt they'll give you one, but
Yeah, about that. So what else is going on?
Well, we had some awesome stuff happen today.
Yeah, we did an interview that we're going to release next week for you.
Yep.
and one that is going to release with this episode. You'll be hearing it later in just a little bit. We'll get to that. With Craig Goldberg and Ryan Doell from the Yes Have Some universe.
Yes, Have Some universe. Yes, Have Some toy anxiety. So it was great to have some special guests on. Very insightful to see their take on things. So hopefully you enjoy that when we get to it. But this week we did cover a couple of movies. We don't have a top 5 because we ran along with the toy anxiety crew. But we'll jump right into this bullshit.
Yeah.
What you want to talk about first, son?
Let's just go in chronological order. And I don't mean by year which the movie takes place. I mean which it came out. Because both of these movies are, at the time of release at least, future movies.
Fair enough.
So that would mean... I don't even know when Fifth Element takes place. When does it take place?
Early 23rd century.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that's well ahead of when Blade Runner
Yeah,
takes place.
because in the beginning part where they show like, like the early 1900s or late 1800s when they're showing that, I think they say it's like every 500 years the threat happens. So I'm assuming 500 years.
Well, it was like 1914, and then they said it's 300 years later.
Yeah, whatever. So
Blade
can't
Runner
hear Nick in the
2
background.
years ago at this point. So
yeah. Blade Runner is a, we watched Blade Runner, the final cut. There's a lot of choices in the Blade Runner viewing world. So I happened to get the final cut when I got my copy, digital copy. Just wanted to see what had the most overall amount of praise to it, and that seems to be the one. So
You know what I just watched?
Me pulling a can off some moron's fist?
Return of the Jedi.
Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
So one thing that stood out to Blade Runner, especially with the final cut, is Vangelis. Is that his the composer's name?
Yep.
Yeah. So Alec was big into synthwave and has been and loves the synth stuff. And you hear that score, and it's very iconic for what it is. And even when you look at the Blade Runner sequel, like how they're able to mimic some of those classic sounds and use the same synths, like really sets the tone. I think that's one of the things that really worked for the sequel, but it really drove the original movie in a way that, I mean, we love scores. We did our top 5 movie scores, but the score on this is just,
yeah.
I don't know if you'd say perfect or not, but it really is able to set the tone and the mood for everything going on. So.
And it's a little bit different, especially, I mean, it's still different when you hear it now.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like anything that you've heard 1,000 times when you go to see a movie.
You might be like, I've seen some movies with some weird chanting in the score and synthesizers, obviously. It's the fucking 80s, who didn't? But there's also like these things where it sounds like a futuristic noir.
Yes.
And you get like those sexy sounds that make you want to just fucking start going on.
Well, even some of the synthy sax parts that were in there, right? The sax synthesized, some of those like really set the tone for what's going on in the movie.
Oh, yeah, it makes me want to fuck a robot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wanted to do that anyway, so.
Yeah.
So the movie takes place in LA 2019. Hopefully you've seen it. Spoiler alert if you haven't.
We were in LA in 2019, and you know what?
Yeah.
Our first thoughts when we watched this movie was, you know what? That's not not how it looked. You're wrong.
Wrong.
You're wrong. You're almost out of office because you're wrong.
So, this is one movie that I had already seen in my teens or something, just from hearing about it in music references and things like that. And actually, there's something pretty cool. There's some samples of this that are in a song that's in Ferris Bueller by Sig Sputnik, Love Missile F5, I think it's called. But it's that like really synthy song that when Ferris Bueller's kind of montaging around his house talking about shit. There's some random Blade Runner samples in there. So that's kind of like one of those things that I was like, all right, I got to see where this came from, obviously. And I also exposed my mom to this movie. She had never seen it when I watched it with her, but she's big into sci-fi and stuff. Our mom is, she has great taste when it comes to movies usually. So
that doesn't exclude her from watching some trash, but she's pretty open-minded and watches a lot.
Yeah.
Same thing with music. She's pretty...
Well, I mean, compare it to our dad's taste in movies. She's a fucking Roger Ebert. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true. That's true. So this movie I hadn't seen until right before the sequel was coming out, and I was like, I feel like this is one of those I should have seen, but I had not. So I got the digital copy and watched it. Really fell in love with it, and was like, oh man, I've been missing out.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's a Harrison Ford movie, but it's a Harrison Ford sci-fi movie, and I think he works so well as that character because he's so different than like what you're expecting. You're like, oh, a Harrison Ford in a sci-fi movie. Like, what is this going to be, Han Solo all over again? No, completely different character. Which
and
works
he's not
well
Indiana Jones either. He's much more subdued.
Yeah,
it's a lot more low-key movie. A lot of talking, but it's in a good way. If you're at a stage in your life where you're old and can process movies where there's a lot of talking, I don't know, 16. If you're not a fucking complete useless tool, you could really understand and enjoy this movie. And then when the action sequences do come, or the violent scenes, it really works. I was saying last night, this is kind of like what I would expect out of if that lost Tarantino Star Trek movie had ever come about. It would be something like this, where it's kind of dark and there's some weird shit happening.
Yeah, there's things in this movie, even like the final scenes, like Roy's kind of death scene. Roy's one of the Nexus 6 models. And even like he still turns out to be somewhat compassionate as an individual, even though he's trying to fight for an extended life. So there's so many things in this movie that are existential, but it's so well done. And then there's obviously the whole ploy of like, is Deckard a replicant or not, right? They obviously address that more in the sequel, but it's very ambiguous in this movie intentionally, right?
Yeah.
When she asks, have you ever done this test on yourself? And they call that the Voight Comp test. So
there's a similar thing in the book, which I should mention, this is based off of a book called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? I've read it. It's written by Philip K. Dick, who's a writer. He also wrote the Minority Report, Total Recall stories, which is called, what is Total Recall called? I think it's called like something, I can't remember now, but it's called something totally different that's like weird, and just kind of like how Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep sounds nothing like Blade Runner.
Yeah, to take his stories and adapt them to the movies, they kind of simplify the titles because you're like, you got to have some mass marketing appeal. Like a simple title is going to work better than a elaborate title. So
I mean, Deckard has a wife in the book too, so it's pretty different. But
yeah. So this is interesting, because they kind of give you the background of the Tyrell Corporation to start off the flick. So we can remember it for you for wholesale.
We can remember it for you wholesale. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Nick just
and it's basically the same thing. What Total Recall the brand is, but we can remember it for you. That's the whole thing. We're going to cover Total Recall later this month. So,
yeehaw!
Ooh, we love some Philip K. Dick.
And Rachel's an interesting character in here as well because they kind of elaborate on how she's this new special model and she's not even aware that she's a replicant, but they hint that she's becoming self-aware that she might be, or she's having suspicions.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, later on when Deckard realizes that, like, he realizes he needs to protect her too, even though, they upped the body count. Basically, he's originally told there's 6 replicants that stole a ship and came back to Earth. And, right all the way.
Isn't it 4?
Two died immediately.
Right.
Yeah, two died immediately before they even get Deckard involved. And then, you kind of got to go from these other characters from there. And then, he's like, they tell him there's 4 left. And he's like, 4?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, yeah, Rachel. So,
yeah, that's a whole thing. Edward James Olmos is pretty famous for this movie. He does the whole origami thing, which is cool. I don't know, the visuals in this movie are cool. It's kind of like rainy and dark, and if anything, reminds me of Batman 89 because it has some of those set pieces feel like that, and it's really dark.
It really reminds me of The Crow in certain ways that was shot just with the dark backgrounds and everything's and the moodiness and the stuff there. But you really need to appreciate a lot of the miniatures in here, like the way the light shines through the miniatures and things like that. It really works very well.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't have been the same CGI had it just not been, miniatures. It would be completely different.
No, yeah, without a doubt. Ridley Scott directed this, and he also apparently considered the movie Soldier, which I believe stars Kurt Russell, to be a sidequel to this, set in the same universe.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
One of the more interesting...
not aware of that.
Yeah, I was unaware of that. So one of the more interesting characters in this that I get a kick out of more each time I watch it is J.F. Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he looks like an older man, and they say he's got some sort of disease, but he turns out to be only 25. And the replicants, Roy, and what do they call her? Pris,
and Leon's the other one. That's...
Yeah. And so you're dealing with these main three. And JF kind of has sympathy for him since he's not able to go off world. They're like, oh, you've never been off Earth because you're just not medically able to. And so it's an older actor playing a 25-year-old man, and he's got an interesting spirit and a whimsiness to him, just a playfulness that you really have to be paying attention to. Like, if you miss the fact that he's a young character, you're going to miss a lot of like why he's so caught up in toy making and having all these weird things in there, which become very interesting set pieces later on in the movie, right? Pris herself actually disguises herself as a toy in the house when Deckard comes through later. So I think he's a very interesting character to have in there. And you take a lot out just from seeing these other side characters kind of woven through this movie that I didn't appreciate the first few times I watched it. Now, I love this movie right away, but this is a movie that each time you watch it, you're going to gain more from watching it.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff to pick up on.
The Voight Kampf test with Leon is one of my favorite scenes early on in the movie. One of the first scenes where he's asking him the question about the turtle or the tortoise, you know?
Yes.
What's a tortoise and all that? You know what a turtle is? Yes.
Same thing.
All that stuff's good. You know, I don't know. I need to look up more about Daryl Hannah, but she plays Pris in this, and she also plays the I can't remember her code name in Kill Bill, but she's one of the Snake code named Viper Squad or whatever they're called.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Deadly Viper Assassination Squad. She's the one with the eye patch.
Yep.
So that's Pris in Blade Runner. She's in she's a big actor. I've heard that name all over the place. I just, for some reason, she's escaped me, so I need to like check her out on the internet. Go to the internet, check her out. You know.
Exactly. So no, that first movie, especially the final cut, I think it holds up really well. And then even the ending with Rachel and Deckard leaving, and then they find the what is that, a unicorn? Origami unicorn that the other detective leaves behind, basically, or the other Blade Runner leaves behind. And so it's very ambiguous, but obviously with the sequel, it's different now, but just not knowing and the way that rolls the credits on that movie, the original just works so well because you're like, oh, okay, is that a good sign or a bad sign, right? Does that mean he's like there to catch them, or does that mean he's like saying, I was here, I gave you the opportunity to escape?
Yeah. According to Ridley Scott, too, when he made the movie, he thought Deckard was a replicant. But if you ask Harrison Ford, he will tell you that Ridley Scott told him that Deckard was a human. So it's like, did he tell Harrison Ford he was a human just because that's what he thought at the time, and later Ridley Scott changed his mind? Or did he tell him he was a human so he would play it as a human?
Yes.
And get that result? You know
I
what
would
I mean?
see that
It's
more that way, yeah, because Harrison Ford's very subdued in this, right? He's not as loud and boisterous as he is. He's good for the action sequences. He's good for some of the serious dialogue. I do love like all
But then again, if he was a replicant, he would have strength like Roy and shit too, potentially, because Roy is, especially if he was a Blade Runner replicant, then he would have probably stronger features but I don't know.
Well, the other thing is too, is like, if they were a Blade Runner, but they're also a replicant, did they give those folks a longer lifespan, right? There's a lot of things that weren't addressed in there. So
yeah,
it's very existential and just, kind of makes you question, because you almost just feel bad for these replicants because they come here just to see the Tyrell Corporation. They could go to see Tyrell himself and basically just want more life and want to know why they've done what they've done. And essentially, they've given them a 4-year lifespan just to limit them from revolting and wanting more. But clearly, even 4 years is probably too long for that because they're so self-aware by then.
It's interesting. seeing Sean Young in this because I grew up watching her in Ace Ventura.
Oh, yes.
What does she say? Die, animal! What does she call him? Animal something?
Die, animal boy, or something, isn't it?
Animal boy? Yeah, I think that's it. Something like that. No, when
she
she's
calls him
screaming
lots of
at him
names.
with the glass at the end of the movie.
Yeah, when she chases Adam down. That has got to be the worst case of hemorrhoids I have ever seen. That's it's interesting to see her there because she plays that part very well too, right? You know, she's very subdued, very, it almost, seems like.
Is this question asking if I'm a lesbian?
Yeah.
Or a human?
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff in there.
It's that just the way her character's all made up. She really comes across as like that 1920s, 1930s, like gorgeous girl next to a gangster group, or something like in a speakeasy, that kind of vibe. But it carries well and translates well for her character, I think. In the future, history repeats itself. So you see some of these same things and you're like, okay, that makes sense that would be like.
Oh, it's 2019
popular.
in this movie, and it definitely looks like they took a 1920s aesthetic and futurized it for this movie.
Yes.
Because there's lots of, it looks like future flappers and shit around.
Yeah, the whole design aesthetic for the clothing, but then that clashes very much with like the very boxy technology of what you see, even the elevators on the outside when they're going to see Tyrell. And they carry some things over, like the chess game that JB's playing with Tyrell when he goes there, to get him to let him in.
Isn't it?
I thought it was JB. Did I write that down wrong?
I didn't write it down. I thought it was JF Sebastian. Now I'm going to feel like an idiot if I'm wrong.
Oh, yeah, JF. I don't know why. I must have just scribbled my own fucking notes.
You were just thinking about that BJ from Nick's mom. Hey.
Those are hard to forget. Sometimes they haunt me in my dreams, and sometimes they haunt me in my dreams.
Mm-hmm. No, I like this movie a lot, though. It's good to watch. If you haven't seen it, go fucking watch it. And I don't know why you just listen to us spoil it if you haven't seen it.
Just watch a different cut of it, the non-director, or not the final cut. Just watch the regular cut, the director's cut. Watch one of the other versions of it. It may be different. I don't know. I haven't seen them all.
I know I have the final cut, and I think I have the director's cut. But I don't know if I know any of the differences or not. So I don't know for sure. But
There's
that's
surely some controversy there.
Yeah.
So that's Blade Runner, the final cut. I don't really have anything else to say about it. If you've seen this, let us know what your favorite cut of the movie is. Let us know what you think of the Nexus 6.
Yeah.
These days, that sounds more like a smartphone than a human robot, but...
You know what I just watched?
Me pulling a can off some moron's vest?
Return of the Jedi. Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god!
You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
What are we talking about? We're talking about Fifth Element. Ooh. We're talking about a blonde, Brucey Willis.
He's still got that receding hairline, but they frosted his tips. Very 90s.
Well, it looks like he's in a boy band. He's like, I would never hurt you, girl.
You mean it looks like he used to be in a boy band, but can't let go of it?
No. It looks like, because it's the 90s, and boy bands had frosted tips in the 90s. And so I think that it's more of like that's what's happening. Like he was trying to get in a
current... he was trying to get into one. Okay, yeah.
Well, I guess the movie takes place in the future, though, so it could have been like he used to be in one. So that makes sense, too.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about this is he's very much Bruce Willis, or like on the edge of still being who he's just started being very comfortable with in action movies. Good or bad, it is what it is. But he does a good job playing this role. I mean, you find out that he's a cab driver. Okay, so that's entertaining. And then, of course, he's got a former military history. So they go through and show that in his shitty-ass fucking apartment that he's got all these fucking awards and decorations and photos still. So, like, they try to make that a point. They try to cram it down your throat without cramming it down your throat, like when Alec goes to visit Nick's mom. So
she asked for it.
It's consensual. It's just a fantasy thing. It's a role play. So, yeah, you know, they really want you to understand, like, he's a really highly decorated guy. And then later on, they tell you more, you know, was his major or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're the only one that survived from your unit. Like, okay, so you kind of get the vibes that he's a badass.
You also have at the beginning of the movie,
oh my God, because I'm stoned, baby.
It looks like you're in a hardcore van.
No, it's beatboxing. Yeah, I don't know what I was going to say. The guy from Alien who plays the android is in this, in the first Alien. So that's cool. And I believe he also played Bilbo in Lord of the Rings. And yeah, I'm talking about that movie where those trees walk that you haven't seen.
Oh, yeah, haven't seen any of those yet. Seen part of one, but I straightened it.
I was about to say that.
No, so the interesting piece about this is Mia Jovovich is in here, right? And
you want to take another shot at that? I'll let you take another shot at that.
How do you say it?
Well, there's a lot of different ways, but I think the pronunciation is Mila Jovovich.
Oh, because it's
Jovovich. Jovovich, if you want.
Jovovich. All right. Well, my linguistics are balls. If you've seen my old Fashion Time videos, you may or may not know where that's from. Yeah, so she's in this, and she's amazing in this. You forget how good she is. Like, she's speaking in this dialect the entire time, for the most part, until she starts to learn the English language. Like, you see that she's intelligent just through the acting she does with her eyes and her expressions on her face, which I think in the first Resident Evil, you kind of see some of that, but by later on, you're just fucking bored with it. So, like, we saw so many Resident Evil movies that, like, there's a point in time where you're just like, I don't even care about you anymore.
No.
And then you go back and watch this, and you're like, okay, you totally redeemed yourself.
Yeah, it's the only thing I've seen her in before this was Dazed and Confused. Yawning again.
Poor little guy.
We've been sitting here talking and podcasting for like 5 hours because we got some extra shit going on for the future.
Oh yeah.
So that's how long it's been going on. But hey, I didn't see this movie as a kid or in the 90s. A lot of people did. I didn't see it for the first time until I was in my 20s. And I was just like, you know what, I'm going to watch this because I've never seen it. It looks a little cheesy, but it feels like an American Doctor Who to me. And that is great.
Yeah, see, so when this movie came out, I recall seeing it like on pay movies, like pay channels like HBO or whatever. And I just never really got into it. I knew a lot of people had seen it, but none of my friends were really talking about it. So I was like, whatever, it must not be anything that entertaining. So going back and, you know, sitting down and watching and enjoying it, you're like, oh, that's actually really holds up pretty well. I mean, there's cheesy stuff from the 90s in it. Some of the CGI is not as fucking terrible as you would expect for the time period, because there is a decent amount of mixture there between, you know.
Reminds me of that time period where we also had like the Lost in Space movie that came out in there, and like Star Kid. It was a big sci-fi resurgence in the mid to late 90s. So
yeah, and I think the CGI technology helped that, and everyone was trying to find that practical effects balance to blend with the CGI. And you know, everyone really wants to go there because that was the last point in time you had a lot of blending.
This movie looks pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look as good as some other stuff, but it doesn't look bad. You're not watching this and at any point really ever like, oh, that looks like shit.
No,
that doesn't happen.
I was never distracted by something looking so out of place or so shitty that you're like, there's a few things that you're like, okay, just kind of roll along with it. But the sets look good and fun. So, I mean, and it's a silly story, right? You know, you're going back, and I like how they set it up with the ancient times, right? You know, not even really ancient times, but ancient times to the current story that we're seeing, right? Sci-fi.
So yeah, you got Luke Perry in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was where the scene of the guy from Alien, and I don't know his name. I feel bad, but it's not really like he's listening to this or even.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit about us.
I don't even know if he's alive anymore, but you know what? It is what it is.
I don't even know if we're alive anymore.
Oh, I mean, we could be a turtle's dream right now.
I know. We could be a marble in another galaxy and a cat's necklace. Oh, wait, that's the end of Men in Black. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, which is similar to the ending of... Oh, no, that's not the ending of the Men in Black. The ending... Well, I mean, there is that, but then there's also that all of that is held within a marble of an alien. It's just a marble, and he's playing marbles.
Yes.
Which is they said it was inspired by, I think, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and stuff like that. This is interesting. And I was gonna say Gary Oldman's in this. A lot of people like him. His role is okay. It's whatever. It is what it is. But Chris Tucker steals the fucking show.
Chris Tucker is on point in this. He's funny. He's timely. He's like fucking way over the top.
His hair is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gary Oldman's his character John Baptiste is just like he's borderline just fucking obnoxious in this movie.
I was gonna say this movie vibe-wise, it always comes up with a couple other movies for me, which is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy and Galaxy Quest, because they're on one of those like same time period of being made, a little campy, a little sci-fi, but you could watch it with your whole family. And Chris Tucker's character I compare to Sam Rockwell's in Hitchhiker's Guide. Yes. He fucking you're like, this is the character I want to follow around now.
Yeah, like someone's so interesting and over the top. You're like, okay, what's going on with them?
Yeah.
So it's fun. It holds up well. Obviously, I don't.
You have that whole singing Twi'lek thing.
Yeah, definitely Star Wars references. The thing of sci-fi,
Star Wars.
Definitely Star Wars. Something with this type of movie that blends other genres and other sci-fi influences into it and kind of does its own thing with it. I do like that, right? Because you're like, well, I may not get to play in that sandbox, but I'm going to do something in my own world here.
Yeah.
So, but that can be distracting too much if you do it over the top. So,
true.
So that's the fifth element. Nothing too wild and over the top for us here in this one. Oh, the other thing I guess I would say is that space shuttle looking ship that they used to travel on. Like it just looked like a futurized spaceship. That was one of the CGI things I really noticed, just because like the way they're setting that off and flying it off. And
this is kind of like that. I don't know how to describe it other than campy sci-fi, but it works well. It's a little bit. It's like if you want to watch something like Bladerunner, but you don't want all the emotional investment. You just want to have a good time. This is a better alternative to something like Bladerunner.
Yeah, the stakes are big, but they're not like in your face obnoxious until like the very end. You're like, oh, the world's gonna end. You're like, oh, okay, well they stopped it, so that's cool.
Yeah.
So, but for the most part, it's kind of a fun. I mean, it's like she's basically on the run.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of different vibes for just being sci-fi. It's not just that. It's like you're an escaped, whatever. You're on a run, a fugitive, or something like that.
Well, that's like what I was saying. That's why I compared it to Blade Runner, because people are running in that movie.
Yep. Yeah, this is just much more lighthearted. The vibrant colors help too, right? I mean, a lot of sci-fi that wants to be existential or really dark is going to have like that moody setting, the moody music on there.
They did good with making some of this feel lived into, like Star Wars is. And
yeah, especially like when you go into Corbin Dallas's apartment, right?
Yeah.
I already said that, but it just looks fucking dirty.
His apartment's cool though, also, because can't not be, because it's the future. So
yeah, it's like entertaining, but it's like you can also tell he's like fucking broke and looks well lived in. It's dirty, like the walls are dirty, even though there's cool technology in there.
That's just a cool scene where he's introduced and like those people try to rob him and he's like, nah, brah.
Yeah, no, that's a good flick. So let us know your thoughts on The Fifth Element. Let us know what you think.
Yeah. So now we're going to turn it over to our discussion. I wouldn't call it an interview, but it's definitely a discussion we had with the Toy Anxiety boys, Craig Goldberg and Ryan Doell. So we're going to shoot you over there. We talked Shadows of the Empire toys. We talked Ghostbusters. We talked the mail.
Toy collecting, yeah.
We talked Donald Trump for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, we talked a lot of everything. I mean, we brought them on for Shadows of the Empire here. Obviously, that's one of the big themes this month. So we talked to Toyline. We showed the Toyline off. There's some cool stuff in there. So we'll let them take it away from here as this gets down and going.
So welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast, guys.
Oh,
thanks.
Thank you.
Are
I'm
we
happy
going?
to be here.
Is it going? Are we recording?
We are recording.
We are recording.
God.
Thanks for the warning.
Yeah.
It's like every podcast ever.
Oh,
like
snap.
5 minutes in, the guest goes, "Are we recording?"
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that in.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Cool. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
So we had to bring
Oh man,
the,
I didn't even get a warm up. Usually I have to say like 100 inappropriate things before we get going.
do you realize
So
who
that
you're
way
on
it's
the
out of
show
my
with?
system.
You can say whatever you want with us. Like you guys, I would say yes, have some is pretty much in that PG-13 to R rating, where we fall into the R rating to NC-17. So like, there's no topics that are too taboo or anything out of touch with us. So
Yeah,
be
we can
yourself.
only say fuck once a podcast because after that, then it becomes R rated, right? So,
yeah, and we say fuck like 10 times in a minute. So
I mean, I love it. Since Ryan started joining us for when we started Toy Anxiety, we started doing the live streams. I think we've only had 2 or 3 times where we've had to have like a post show conversation where I go, hey man, we're live. I can't go back and like take out that one thing where we just went too far.
Yeah.
But we haven't delved into live too much, probably for that same reason. I mean, but you're talking to the same guy that I said blowjob on the radio back in the day when I was on with my band doing like a local band interview. So
that's cool.
Yeah, but that's not so bad. I mean, everyone does those, right? Like everybody.
Yeah, I mean, everyone that's had the chance to be on the radio, I guess,
Right.
Like I still have a cassette tape of that somewhere.
That's cool.
It's proof. It's proof that we've been foul-mouthed and inappropriate since probably the beginning of time.
Which honestly is why I think we're so foul-mouthed and inappropriate, is because it's that phenomenon where we hadn't really seen each other in like 5 years, and you come back and you revert back to how you were.
Yeah, it was legit. Like I hadn't seen him for 5 years in person until FanFest last year. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
man, I am so sorry.
Yeah, it was just weird.
We talked like all the time, but yeah, just being in person, man, it was just had stuff going on in our lives that just didn't work out. So here we are now.
I'm glad you dumped her.
Yeah. Yes.
Both of us.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we're on YHS, we have our 5-year anniversary coming up, and we're going to be breaking down some of our favorite moments, and we're definitely going to be talking about FanFest.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, that was
something
awesome.
else. There was ups and downs. I can't wait to reminisce. It feels like it was yesterday, but it's almost 2 years ago already.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's crazy how fast that's flown by.
Yeah, it's nuts. That was a super fun time. We just got off with Steve Perry, and he also had this thing where he said fuck, and then he was like, wait, can I say fuck? And then he was like, we were like, what do you, he told us he listened to one of our podcasts, and we were like, oh my God, and you still came on?
Yeah.
That's happened to me multiple times where we'll have a guest on, and they say, oh, cool, I'll check out your show. And I'm like, don't do that.
Yeah, let's not do that yet. Let's just do this interview, and we'll circle back later.
I've been trying to get a Mod Best onto YHS, the actor who played Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And I'm working on it, but it's one of those things where it's like, how do you? I'm sure somebody in his he's been through so much. He went through such a hard time after those movies, and I wonder if he's just super cautious on interacting with fans. And like, even if I'm like, no, we seriously love you, we love the Phantom Menace and love the prequels, he's probably like, raised eyebrow.
Yeah.
You don't.
Well, he's kind of the first big star for mocap, for motion capture.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if let's say Jar Jar Binks became as beloved as that little white troll from Lord of the Rings, I'm pretty sure he would be that guy that they all go to like pretend to be a monkey.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I'm pretty sure if he didn't have that stigma of the prequels suck, he would have been probably a much bigger deal. I think elsewhere.
Maybe. So you're saying he should have played Snoke? He should have been the Andy Serkis of.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, Andy Serkis. I think Ahmed Best should have run animators out of business.
All right.
Yeah, he should have been that guy, not Andy Serkis, because now animators don't have jobs anymore because of Andy Serkis.
Well, you should still throw the angle at him at like, hey, your Black Series figure's finally out, man. Let's talk about that.
Dude, that figure's great. Well, I don't know why it's $30, but it's great. I
noticed
figure out why it's a deluxe figure, but
I noticed
it's the shield and the size, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the shield, and he's a little bit taller than the other figures, I think. So,
but so is Chewie.
Yeah. But everything went up in price this year, though. I even noticed like a lot of the new Marvel stuff, went from being like a $19.99 price point to $24.99 price point. So
yeah, everything went up here. Like first, everything went up in price when COVID kind of hit because our dollar just like freaking dove up in Canada, right? So then things, starting in May started to go up in price, and then things went up in price again because everything else went up in price down in the States. So everything else then cost more. And now they were saying again, there was another report saying 6-inch figures from Hasbro were going to go up in price again by July.
What's the baseline for what's a Black Series figure now? Is like $22.99? I think that's what it is here.
I think it's still wasn't it still $19.99?
Yeah, I know the Archive series, the new stuff is $22.99.
Yeah, it's $22.99 to $24.99 because I saw the Cara Dune, and I think that's Black Series, even though she's got the new bubble card. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, the credit collection.
Yeah. So I think that was $24.99 is when I saw that, and I was like, man, that's still trying to digest that yet. I'm like, all right, there's certain things I'll drop that money on, but I'm not quite there with my Star Wars collection yet.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're gonna get one, get Cara Dune.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
She's hot.
Personally, I don't know if I'd be able to spend that much time with her though.
No,
not in person.
I know.
Parlor exclusive Cara Dune figure.
Yeah, she's gonna start her own version of OnlyFans. Only it's like for parlor people.
Only clans.
There you go. There you go. Perfect.
That's a zinger right there.
Yep.
You need to trademark that and sell it.
Yeah, that was 100% off the cuff.
Oh wow, that was amazing.
Yeah,
that was
glorious.
so good.
Not to get too off topic, but the parlor stuff was hilarious today. The way it just doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's I was like gone,
just gone.
What is John Tesh gonna do?
As if millions of conservatives suddenly called out. And,
it's like
cried out in silence.
It's like if Kevin Sorbo was on Alderaan.
It's like every no-fly video.
Yes,
it's just been like awoken.
We've gotten you guys off track. We're so sorry.
That's what we do.
That's what we do. We don't
here.
care. We're one of those. We will feel free to get political when we feel necessary because we just have to be able to be free with our words.
For sure.
Do you think? Do you think Finn ended up being on a no-fly list because he's an ex-stormtrooper?
I mean,
that's quite a
on the Empires. Yes, just because I would see them as. The fascists, that would put them on an no-fly list for sure.
I wonder if the Trump people have like a, how like in the Rise of Skywalker, the Zori Bliss has like that medallion, that first order fast pass.
Yeah,
pass. Yeah, right. I wonder if they have one of those that get you on any flight, no matter what.
Yeah. Are you flagged? Doesn't matter. You got one of these.
My ex-girlfriend's a spice runner.
No.
So if you all want to feel old with us, so Alec and I started collecting the Shadows of the Empire stuff like last summer because I was like, oh man, you know what I really miss from like the expanded universe and everything that went to Legacy? I was like, Shadows of the Empire, like how could they do that to me? Like it was like getting kicked while you're laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm just going to start buying all that. That's got to be cheap. That's like a relatively manageable way to get into a Star Wars line because otherwise you're like, where do I start? What's this? What's that?
Start at the beginning of 96, right?
Yep. Yeah. And so that's kind of the way we went. And we just realized like, hey, it's actually the 25th anniversary this year. 25 years of Shadows of the Empire. So
I should preface this entire conversation by saying that I wasn't a big Star Wars kid. I didn't have any Star Wars figures. Not until like Phantom Menace, I got really caught up in the hype of that. But I don't know what year you guys were born, but like for me being born in 84, I kind of missed the boat. Star Wars was kind of on its way out by the time I existed. So it was all Ghostbusters, Ninja Turtles.
Well, and by the time you were even aware that you were a living being.
Which was just weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right. Extreme Ghostbusters hit the air.
Exactly. But Shadows of the Empire. So like I don't own any of those figures. And I've never read, I didn't read the book. So basically what I'm telling you is I don't know why you guys had me on, but I'm having a good time so far. I was a big fan of the game. I loved the game. I had an N64. I don't think I got it on launch. I think it launched in the the spring of '96, but we got it for Christmas that year. And I mean,
it came out for Christmas that year. It didn't actually make it in time for the launch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
That was delayed. Yeah.
But yeah, that game was incredible. And like now I've been since we've been talking about Shadows of the Empire. I'm like, maybe need to get an N64 and play it because that was just badass.
We're probably going to do some streaming of that game sometime because I do have an N64 and I do have that game.
Yep, so same here. Yep, that one and Pod Racer and what was the other one? The
Rogue Squadron.
Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, I have that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, they
where
said
where you could unlock the Naboo starfighter, but they didn't tell you the code until after
the street date for episode 1. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you could unlock it.
Oh,
they had it in the game for months before it was announced, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely an awesome Easter egg back then. I too was also born in the year of our film, 1984.
The year of our film, love it.
Yeah. You got to get all biblical with it. I mean, I think people can appreciate that. He was born in 91.
I was born 4 years before GB, our film, our Lord, our film and Savior.
So you're BC. He's 4 BC.
I'm 4 BC. Yeah. So it's so I was like a teenager when Shadows came out, and it was kind of fun because it's like I don't know, that era to me of Star Wars is like so ingrained in my memory.
Yeah.
Because before Shadows came out, before like now looking back, you saw exactly kind of what Lucasfilm was doing, but they were coming out with like magazines called like Star Wars Galaxy in like 95. And they started bringing out, like I said, the Power of the Force 2, where everyone came out with their sculpted muscles and the sculpted capes that they were so proud of. Pardon me. And then, and then sure enough, with these magazines, they would kind of like drop these hints of like, they would have a thing called prequel rumors. So they would, and because it's an official Lucasfilm magazine put out by Topps, they would put in these little hints of like, hey, there might be another movie coming, but we don't know for sure. Even though they totally knew for sure.
Yeah.
So them coming out with like all these figures to kind of remind everybody, they brought out all these new like novels, and then getting everyone ramped up for something new, which was Shadows of the Empire, because they had video games, books, comics, Toyline, which then led into the special editions, which then led into episode 1. And like, man, when I realized like it was only a few years ago when I started rereading all this stuff back, like getting all these old magazines and being like looking back and going, man, this is insane. Like I was played like a goddamn fiddle.
Oh yeah. They played us hard back then, man.
Yeah. Like it's just like they set us all up for the hype, and the build up to it as well was just,
I mean, if you go back and read some of the old rumors for like the Phantom Menace, like I was huge, like 8th, 9th grade, I discovered Ain't It Cool News. So, they'd have their guys, like their set report, like most of it was just bullshit. Like most of it
for sure.
But like the rumor, like Natalie Portman's definitely going to get naked in the Phantom Menace. Like that was a big rumor in 1998.
But wasn't she like 14?
Yeah, and well, Star Wars fans are, they can be a little. Imagine being a hardcore Star Wars fan, like a 45-year-old dude, in like 1998. Like,
I'm almost there in 2024. So,
but I mean, back to Shadows of the Empire, real quick. Like that game had such a profound impact on me as somebody who, like, even when the special editions came out, like I was into it, but like that game was my. That was kind of a reintroduction into Star Wars for me because like when I was a kid, like my older cousins obviously were into Star Wars, but like when you're really young, when you're like 2 or 3 and you've got like groups of older cousins that are like 7, 8, 9, and they're watching Return of the Jedi, like it all looks scary to me. So I kind of had a weird, an aversion to it. I don't think I was as into Star Wars, but like once mid-90s hit, like, and again, I didn't collect the figures, but as far as the Shadows of the Empire line, what is the timeline? So you have the Power of the Force, the first series, and then Shadows of the Empire?
Then Shadows, and then you get to sit. So it all kind of does blur into one. But first you get those red cards, that came out, and there was like 3 waves of that, which then goes into Shadows, and then it's like Power of the Force 2 again, but it would come with like slides or coins.
Right,
they'd be on the
like
green
a deluxe
card.
figure.
Yeah,
Right.
that's when they switched to the green card. Yeah. So, Ryan,
But the
what do you
line's not
have?
very big. Oh.
No, it's not. So, what all do you have from the Shadows of the Empire line, Ryan?
So, I did Dengar. I have him. I have Shiva, Shizor, and Bosch was the first one that I was able to get. That was a big deal when she came out because
That was the first Bosch Leia, right?
that was the first Bosch Leia, not ever, but I mean, like, you know, for that line.
Yeah.
And she came with Han and Carbonite. I mean, it was all a big deal.
Yeah, we've got quite the collection going. So, I've obviously acquired one of these guys recently.
Oh,
the
cool.
2-pack.
Nice, the 2-packs.
Yeah, now this one's in okay shape. Some of the blisters on this line, man, they're just like, some of them are just completely yellowed out, and some of them are in great shape, depending on how, you know, previous owner kept them.
Yeah. I also have I opened my Boba Fett and IG-88 pack because it was in such bad condition. I was like, I'll just buy another because they're like $20. But
got one of these recently.
Nice.
And I actually got 2 of these, but I kept the one for myself with the Toys R Us price tag.
Sweet. A little bit
I was
of
looking at those
American history.
Now, what's the deal on the Outrider? That's what it's called, right?
Well, yeah.
Yep.
So when you look at eBay prices, $55, $60, $75, it feels like the kind of thing if you find it at a local shop for $20 and like people maybe just overhype them on eBay.
If they're new in box, yeah, you're going to see, I think they're usually going for around 60, you know, plus or minus free shipping or not, you know, so.
Right.
Now the
It's
Slave
cool.
One.
It's a unique vehicle. I like it.
Yeah, basically, like when we talked to Steve Perry, he basically like broke down what we already knew about, you know, Dash Rendar was basically supposed to be kind of like the Han Solo little brother that, you know, kind of had to fill in that role of gunslinger. So,
right.
I figured I was going to open this up anyway, so I figured I would do this right now, and we could talk about it if you want.
For sure.
Go ahead and make your point. Yeah, well, I'm going to open this up while you do.
Well, I was just wondering, like, so when I'm reading about Shadows of the Empire and I'm reading about like this multimedia event, it's kind of similar to what they're doing right now with the new, like the High Republic stuff, where they're kind of making it a multifaceted thing. There's going to be books, there's going to be comics, but I wonder if there was ever discussion of doing like a movie set in that timeline, or if they were so focused on, you know, developing episode 1 that it, you know, didn't happen.
The big piece with this was like Lucasfilm wanted to do everything besides the movie just to see how the marketplace would react.
Right.
And so that's the whole process behind this. So like when we had Steve on, he basically elaborated, you know, like on the process of sitting down with everyone. Look at those stickers.
The nightmare, the decal nightmare of 90s toys.
That is horrific to look at, but
we should probably actually make a scan of that. That way we can resell them by a printer later on, because, you know, those are going to be stale.
This is what I'm here for. These. I love these.
Yes.
Those are like the little things, man. Like,
oh yeah, we're gonna be flipping through.
Those are like a child's version of Playboy.
Oh my god!
You know, you're just like flipping through it all the time. You're like, I don't care if I've seen this a million times. I'm gonna go back and look again.
It's like I wish I could subscribe to the Kenner catalog.
Exactly.
I wonder what. So 96. What's going on in that catalog? And I'm trying to think of 96 besides Star Wars. What would have?
Let's see. Action Man,
Batman,
Nerf, Dragonheart, Star Wars, Batman: Total Justice, Legends of Batman, Gargoyles, Batman Crime Squad,
a lot of Batman,
animated series.
The Adventures of Batman, G.I. Joe Extreme, Tonka, Beast Wars, Transformers, Superman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
so the Superman Man of Steel line, that sounds right. And then there's 2 different waves of Batman animated series. The Legends of Batman is the one that's based off the comic book line, and the Total Justice line is the Justice League.
I see those Legends of Batman figures all the time.
You should buy them. They're great.
All right. If you say so.
Yeah.
They're fan. That's where you get like Ninja Batman and like Egyptian Pharaoh Batman. And
does that have the silver Batmobile?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
So as he goes through that, I got quite a bit of the collection here, since it's pretty small line. Like here's Chewie in his disguise.
Yeah, that's a cool costume. I really wish someone that does like Rebel Legion or goes to like Celebration and stuff like that. I want to see a Wookiee that looks like that.
Yeah,
with
that'd be
the
awesome.
eyepiece and the crew cut.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's got new toy smell.
Smell
I
that,
love that.
baby.
Hey, I'll tell you what I like is the card art on these figures is really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the hologram they have on them, man. Like, that's so 90s, but it's so perfect.
Yeah. Holograms need to make a comeback anyway.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Right? If you're going to make a Visionaries movie, then you better have some bloody holograms.
I like it. I like the purple and red. Like the
yeah.
packaging really pops. And like when you go to a vintage toy store and they've got a bunch of 90s Star Wars, the Shadows of the Empire stuff just stands out.
Oh, it's so easy to find when you're looking for it too, because like you're like, okay, there's green, there's orange, or you're like purple. There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
Yep. Too bad they only made 6 figures.
Yeah, I know. Here's Dash Rendar. So speaking of, I'm going to do a cosplay Dash Rendar. That's kind of something I've been toying around with, which is one of the reasons I was like, I want to do a Star Wars cosplay, but not something that's been done a million times.
Right.
Right. He's the way to go. Plus, he is pretty beloved. I'm waiting for Dash to show up in Mando.
Oh, yeah. We've been talking about that for a while. Like, I'm like, his ship's already been set as canon. Like, he's got everything you need that you can't get because you don't have Han Solo available. So
before we had a name for Timothy Oliphant, I was like, ooh, that could be Dash Rendar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. I wonder, like, they it seems like they're leaning into bringing back some of the Legends canon, piece by piece. So
yeah, they're taking the best of the best, I feel like, right? They're like not necessarily using the story arcs, but they're taking the character that you know and love and like adapting it, which I'm perfectly content with.
Yeah. Well, she's Force canon now too, so I mean.
Yep.
I'm going to open him up real quick as well because I already have this one, and this one's in really bad condition. I got him for $1.99 at Vintage Stock because they didn't have a price tag on it, and they're like, I don't know, $1.99.
So Vintage Stock is a Midwest chain of used and new toys and collectibles and stuff. So they have vinyl, they have movies, so they have a really great mix of stuff there. So costs a little bit more there, obviously, but if you can go get what you want, like Alec just got the Green Ranger there, and I haven't seen the Green Ranger pop up in any stores yet. And he went there and walked and bought it right off the shelf.
The one, the Tommy one with the headband.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a cool figure.
And even looking back at these, like, just the sculpt on his face is really good. I know you're not going to be able to tell or anything, but like the Seizure figure he's pretty good for the time and everything. It's
him and his inappropriate powers.
Oh, exactly.
Oh, yeah. His powers
the
of
stuff
seduction.
Steve Perry was telling us about that too. Like,
yeah, man, that was pretty hilarious.
They actually tried to get him to write Seizure and Leia having sex into the book.
Oh, I don't know how I feel about that.
They wanted it to be a successful seduction.
Yeah, and he said no. He's like, I didn't want to get any hate mail, and I didn't want people to find me and destroy me. It's like, yeah.
Poor Leia.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she we all know after A New Hope, she totally at least gave Luke a hand job.
That's
hey,
enough.
thanks for saving the galaxy, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, for all
totally.
we know, like, listen, the one thing nobody ever talks about is like that's a completely different galaxy, and we don't know the rules there.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, maybe brother sister hand jobs are just part of the deal. Like that.
I mean, it's just like it's the Arkansas galaxy, I guess. It's fine.
A long time ago in Mississippi.
Far away.
Marty McFly might know something about his mother giving him a hand job.
Oh yeah, there's a therapy group out there for those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should have went for it if you think about it. Anyway,
that's actually, if you're doing toy photography this year, Troy or Craig, sorry.
Did you call me Troy?
Yeah, I did. Oh, that was a rip.
That's amazing. Everybody,
guy.
I love. By the way, Troy's the best. Can we just talk about that for a second? Troy's the best.
Troy's are awesome.
Oh yeah, man. I remember talking to Troy back in the day on like AOL Instant Messenger and being like, hey man, and he's just a couple years older than us. So I'd be like, hey, what do you think about Extreme Ghostbusters? And like, he'd entertain me and my nerdiness as a kid, like bother him on the internet. So it was pretty awesome.
Probably did the same thing. I mean, I remember, again, we're getting off topic, but Ghostbusters HQ, like I always tell the story, like we got AOL in 97. And the first thing I did as soon as it was connected was search for Ghostbusters 3, anything. So I found GBHQ and Proton Charging pretty early on. So it's kind of cool full circle that those guys are still doing it. And I would say that the Crossrip came back today. The new episode I already listened to. It was great. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they dropped today. Fine. It was good to have them back, man. Kind of missed them in the feed there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. No, we had Troy on for our Midnight Mando shows that we did.
Yep.
All winter long, and it was great. It was a good.
I live right by Chris Stewart, so I see him all the time.
I will say this: Star Wars has been so top of mind because it was such a weird year in 2020. But I mean, Star Wars was incredible this year.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, I've leaned so hard into my Star Wars fandom, and not that I wasn't already, like, but I just have such an appreciation for what they're doing right now.
Oh, for sure. Same. That was one of the things we we had to ask Steve about, was like, what do you think of Mandalorian? And he was like, yeah, it's fucking awesome. And we were
What
like,
does Steve do now? What is he still writing?
he still does writing.
Yeah, he's
stuff.
still writing.
He's actually, don't know if you know this or not, but he did also write 3 episodes of Real Ghostbusters and an episode of Extreme Ghostbusters. He was Emmy nomination for Batman the Animated Series. He's done lots of cool stuff. So.
Yeah, he wrote for Gargoyles, the series as well. So,
wow, very cool.
We talked to him a little bit about all that stuff too. So that was fun. Cool to talk to him.
Remember that time when Batman was like punching a guy? That would have been me the whole time.
That would have been
right. Yeah.
I live for Batman animated series.
It's great.
It saved my life.
Some of that.
But yeah,
we enjoy it.
Will you guys tell me about this the Slave One in Shadows of the Empire line? Is it a re-release? Is it a repaint? Because I love the box art.
It's the same. Box? Yeah, it's the same one, right? So there's also a re-release in the green Power of the Force line. Obviously, you can get some of those a little bit cheaper if you're looking for the Shadows of the Empire line specifically. Like I got eBay sniped the other day, and Alec was
telling you, you're going to get sniped. You're not going to get that.
Your max bid's not high enough, and I'm like, man, I think I got a chance, and like
10 seconds,
1 second left, and I was like,
That's the worst feeling that a human being can go through.
Oh, it was traumatic, man. And then he's just like, "You idiot, you didn't do it right." And I'm like, "I know, stop punishing me. I'm sorry."
Because I went and knocked on his bedroom door. I was like, "Is this the same Slave One you're bidding on?" He was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "God damn it," because I was about to go like,
yeah, he's about to go try to snipe it from me. So at least
that's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so funny. My brother and myself are very close, but our interests aren't always aligned. So I couldn't imagine like him and I bidding on the same toys. Like, it would never happen. But what was the first release of that specific Slave One? The Power of the Force one?
Or is it? No, it's the Shadows of the Empire was the first re-release of that, and it was the old vintage Kenner mold that they used.
Oh, really?
And it's just a repaint, because I just read up about it. I just read a whole article about it.
Yeah, a lot of those original Power of the Force lines were complete re-releases. Like the Millennium Falcon was the same way. I think they just distinguished them with some new stickers.
Yep, that's it. That's all it was.
Like if you had the vintage Millennium Falcon, because I have some older cousins that had a bunch of Star Wars stuff, and much like you, Craig, like, you'd watch it, you're like, I'm not really getting into this, because I was just young for it, but they had all the toys. And
older cousins kind of rule, though, because like that's the first time I saw Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I remember being 4 years old, like, seeing, Freddy Krueger and just like losing my shit. Like, I can't believe this is happening.
Justin was traumatized.
Yeah, that's like my serious childhood trauma right there. Well, one of them was like seeing Nightmare on Elm Street when I was like 2 or 3 probably, and like just like watching it. And then after that, my dad would torment me with it. He'd be like, "Freddy's coming to get you," and you're like, "Oh my God, I can't sleep." So I'm glad I'm not the only one with that trauma in life.
yeah. I mean, that, and like I remember watching like Friday the 13th movies, and like we said, Star Wars, and also like Masters of the Universe. Like, and I remember being scared again of Skeletor and Jabba the Hutt and Ewoks. Like, when you're like 3, it all kind of runs together. Like,
well, even like Yoda on Dagobah is just kind of like, "Oh, this is gross. Like, what's wrong with you?" And then like then you see like Luke like trying to kill himself essentially as a kid, and you're like, "What the hell is this? This is like existential suicide. I don't even know what this is. I'm not ready for this."
I was terrified of David Bowie in The Labyrinth as a child.
Oh yeah,
I was gonna say like Labyrinth was like a really creepy movie.
Yeah,
like you watch it now.
I remember being creeped out by that, and Dark Crystal, when they start taking the essence away out of those little like, what are they called? Like gelflings or something?
Yep.
And they start like turning into zombies. Their eyes turn like white. And oh God.
Again, like I didn't know the difference between. I thought Leprechaun and Willow were the same movie. Like maybe I was just dumb. Now that I'm thinking about it, like maybe I was just a dumb kid.
No, I mean, it definitely happens when you're a kid. I had movies I confused.
I mean, I still have, like, I haven't watched Willow probably since I was a kid, and I just remember there's like some really like kind of crazy moments like near the end that are like kind of graphic, at least from my childhood eyes, and I'll probably watch it now and laugh. But like when they announced the Willow series, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm really into that. And I'm like, well, wait a second. Maybe I need to revisit that before I have an opinion.
There was Ryan, you can maybe help me with this. I had 3 G.I. Joe VHS tapes with the animated series. There was a scene, Ryan's not even listening. There was a scene where I don't know if it was Serpentor or Cobra Commander, where the mask comes off and there's like all these snakes.
Oh, that was Cobra Commander.
But you want to talk about like I was deathly afraid of G.I. Joe from that point on, and I would want to watch my G.I. Joe tapes, but I couldn't remember which tape had that scary scene. So
so you couldn't put any of them on.
I wasn't
yeah, you've been ruined. You're like, no, I'm not dealing with
this.
any of that right now. No, thanks.
But so I'm really interested in collecting the Shadows of the Empire line, and I like those 2 packs. I think the IG-11 and Boba Fett. Like I think it's gonna be the first one I buy. How do you guys? Because I'm not that familiar with like your collecting habits. Are you? I don't necessarily have room for loose or in package figures right now. We call it on Toy Anxiety. We call it Space Danger.
Yes.
So how is your guys' Space Danger? Like when you're considering collecting a new line like that, what goes into that? Like, are you considering?
I'm future proofing things right now. So I've got 2 little kids, 2 boys, young boys.
Right.
So, like, we found out the hard way because when I got those Marty McFly with the hoverboards, the reaction figures.
Okay. Yeah.
The exclusive one with the hoverboard card. And
oh, yep.
Yeah, and he left one laying out,
but it means
laying out in my house where the kids could reach it. And one of my youngest tried to open the package, so I had to trade him for it. So I'm like, I still don't want to open that card, but I'm like, okay, so I can't have anything carded to like display. So I mean, they've got plenty of stuff. So right now I'm like really guarded about displaying anything. So unfortunately, most of it's packaged up right now, but if I get some DTOVs and stuff like that, I'll be in a good spot. So right now, mostly stuff on the bookshelves where they're not really messing with books or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to keep them in package though?
The Shadows of the Empire line, I think right now, once I get everything in package, I'll keep it that way. But you can buy loose open lots really cheap of the Shadows line. So I'll probably get a second set just to have around and the kids can play with them that way
I
too.
bought like a lot of all my figures on eBay, and it was like $50 for all of the figures and the swoop bike and something else too. I don't remember what, but it was pretty good. Yeah.
Although I say
oh yeah, sorry, because I was like even thinking myself, like I remember telling this to Craig, I think last week, where I wanted to get that first wave of Power of the Force, get them again, have them in package.
Mm-hmm.
That ugly ass Leia and
oh god, yeah,
ripped as fuck Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, it's like
oh man, I love steroid Luke.
Yeah,
man, he's awesome. Because like it was always kind of like a big bummer to me, like when I was like, because you gotta remember, it's like I'm a teenager. I'm a little horny about everything at that point. You know,
Ryan, you're the horniest human being I've ever met. Ryan will call me like, dude, I'm going to a Toys R Us. I got a boner about it. I'm like, oh,
dude, I got a big raging boner.
Don't walk into Toys R Us like that.
I gotta get rid of this thing at Toys R Us because apparently there's gonna be kids in this fucking store.
Just tuck it up in your waistband.
Yeah. No way.
Oh my god. Well, by the way, Abby and I were just watching Superbad before I came in here to do this. Ryan, you could be a character in that movie. You fitted. You were like the fourth member of their group.
My whole dream is to have a Power Rangers movie that is like super bad but Power Rangers.
Yep. We've talked about that.
Yeah, that is like my dream. I would love to have.
Oh god, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Superbad, so growing up, I had a real Ghostbusters lunchbox, the red one though. So
you didn't have the blue one.
Yeah, so guess what I bought on eBay? I was like, I bought one of those, and I'm thinking about taking it to cons so people can like replicate the dick drawings and give those to me to fill the lunchbox with.
That would be the coolest thing ever.
But like, if you see me, I'll give you a sticker for a dick drawing. Like,
just draw a dick. I'll put it in my lunch. Yeah, that is amazing. You start.
No, you're going
Instagram.
to a con. I would go pay like some big name artist to draw you.
Oh yes, exactly.
Right? Please, you draw me a dick.
What would be cool is you start an Instagram page called Real Ghostbusters Dicks.
Yes.
And every day you just post your
random dick pictures of that. Yeah. I was like, that's something that should happen because like as a Ghostbusters fan and a crude comedy fan, like that's kind of a double win right there.
Yeah. Yep. RGDs, right?
Yeah.
Amazing.
because that would be pretty rad. But no, no, because like I was like, because I wanted like, because Luke always looked so buff and awesome, and he looked like that. He looked like the original poster. You know,
yeah.
Sword up, right. He's just jacked, and I was like, how come the Leia doesn't look like that? Like that one, where she's got like the leg out, looking all smoking hot.
Yeah,
they
no,
never
they
made that. They still haven't. I'm disappointed.
Instead, they took an American Gladiator figure and repainted her as Leia.
Oh man,
because that's she's all roided out. Yeah.
Like I don't know what they were thinking with that one. Like
yeah, it's terrible.
It's a brutal figure. And it's got I like I said, like researching on it, like she didn't come out right away. So for the longest time as well. I remember this in like '95 and this trying to find Leia. She's not on the back of the card, and it's like, did they even release a Leia? But they did, but she wasn't in the first run of that first wave. Like, they only had a certain amount of room in the boxes for when they were shipping them out. So then later on, they kind of replaced her with R2. Like, they kind of swapped spots. So that's why that's why you couldn't find R2 later on, and then you couldn't find Leia at the beginning.
And that's the power of the Force, that first line?
Yeah, and that is the power of the Force.
So that is the power of the Force. You could be replaced by R2 if you don't fit in the box.
That's exactly it.
Getting this back, I just feel so much better in life, this Seizure figure, having one open now, because I had, as a child, the Darth Vader Seizure 2-pack.
Okay.
That was the Darth Vader figure I had as a kid. And as a kid, I probably opened the packaging and instantly, within 20, 30 seconds, lost the lightsaber to him. But then also, Seizure went missing. Like, I still have a lot of my old Star Wars figures. I still have my old, like, his old Dash Rendar and our old, like, busted up Outrider that's missing the cockpit and shit like that. But that Seizure went missing when I was a kid, and I'm convinced one of my friends stole it. I just don't know which bastard did it.
Hey, if you're listening...
Yeah, and you stole this from
and you have that... Yeah, man, you better, like, fess the fuck up.
Yeah.
Because we'll find you.
Funny. It's
yeah,
funny
we're
how
put
kids...
you on a no-fly list. That's what we're going to do.
It's hilarious how kids play with toys, because it's always like that. It's like, no matter what toy line, you just open it and immediately... I'm still like that. Like, I open figures now. Like, I got this, the NECA Krang figure. And, like, immediately, within, like, 5 minutes, I had lost the antenna for the top of his head. I was like, what am I doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, I was gonna say, you gotta get little sandwich bags and label everything, man.
Oh, I do, but like I get so eager to take it, like
to take it out. You're like, oh no, where'd it go?
So if you guys, right next to me actually is my organization drawer. So this is all NECA TNT accessories. This is a lightning collection.
Nice.
If I could go back, I would actually do it by figure, but I didn't start doing that, and there's no way I can.
To resort that right now, I'd be like, yeah, and if you're attached to your collection, man, it's not a problem.
Yeah,
that's how you really commit to it. It's like, man, do I really want to go through this bag of stuff, or do I want to sell a lot?
Well, here's the thing. I get I like create tasks for myself, because the toy room has stayed pretty clean recently, pretty organized the way I like it. But I come in here and I sit here and I go, well, I need something to do. So it's like, well, I'm either just going to reorganize a shelf or do what, like, one day I'm going to pour out all these things. I'm going to try to organize it by figure. So, somebody, by the way, this is on topic of Star Wars. A listener today sent me this in the mail, and it's not Shadows of the Empire, but I thought you guys might appreciate it. Whoops.
Yeah, probably warning you, if you spoil Shadows of the Empire tonight, dead.
We had to actually
what happened
warning about that earlier. Steve was joking about it. It was funny.
No, this won't spoil anything. This is a Saga Legends Dark Trooper figure.
Oh, nice.
That a listener sent me in the mail. And I'm a sucker for anything that comes with a coin. It automatically feels more like collectible to me. And like anything that says collector's edition or limit. I was telling a buddy of mine, we bought this air freshener, this pine scented air freshener, and it says limited edition on it. It's the only reason I bought it. I was like, I'm getting this shit. It might not be available later.
Yeah,
so I was on a Brickseek and Pop Finder for the pine scented.
It's limited.
It's limited. They only have 100 cans at this Walmart.
Yeah.
Just for my own reference, when did something like this come out? It's probably like 2005 or something.
Yeah, I would guess.
I want to say
2000.
could be even 2010.
07. It says 07 on the back.
Oh, so we were right in the middle. We were close.
So Shadows of the Empire comes out, right? I'm asking you guys as a wandering mind. It comes out, game's out. Did you guys read the book like back then?
No,
Yeah,
I didn't read the
did.
book. I didn't read the book until. So when they announced The Force Awakens is when I was like, okay, there's a few things I really want to go back and get into, and that was the first book I read because I'd read some Star Wars books, just growing up, just whatever I could check out for free from the library or whatever.
Right.
But I read that and I was like, okay, I wonder if they're going to make this, is this going to be canon or not? That was before, they kind of made that announcement of like, hey, this is all going to be legacy. So we're going to kind of start fresh. And I was like, why the hell would something that Luke has sanctioned and put so much time and effort into not be canon?
Right.
Because
it's interesting. Yeah.
It fills a pretty big gap there. And like they spent a lot of time and money on sorting the game with the book, the comics. Like, so you've really got to have all three of these pieces intertwined to get the full story since you don't have a movie.
What's interesting? One of you guys, I think Justin, you mentioned it earlier. Like, it is kind of smart to be able to pick and choose what they want and then reincorporate it, because that way they're not held to any. Like, they could announce a Shadows of the Empire TV series and use some of the same characters, but do their own thing. Because I think Dash that's like a cool character, and like I think, I think it would work now. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, he's got an iconic ship. He's got an iconic look. He kind of fills that role of the Han Solo that you're not going to be able to do. And since you don't have any screen time with him shared with other people, he can have like a history with them, but you don't have to show it.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways I think they could bring anything like that in, because even in reading some of the stuff and doing research about the Shadows of the Empire stuff, I found out that they kept referring to Dash Rendar as like a Top Gun type character, like Maverick,
Right.
So it's obviously before Goose died, when he's really cocky, before he's conflicted and all sentimental.
Right. They need. I would like a Dash Black Series figure, maybe like a Hoth Dash. Or
I want the Luke from that, because they never made a figure of the Luke with that yellow vest.
I've seen customs of it, but they don't look great.
See, this is where I think this is where I really think they're messing up with Black Series, because I think like the Gamer Greats figures are okay. And like they could maybe put out a Dash Rendar Gamer Greats figure or something. But if they announce tomorrow there's going to be a Shadows of the Empire sub-series, Black Series, I think fans would be like insanely like over the moon excited for it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that hits on nostalgia factor, right? I mean, that's huge. I mean, so let me ask you guys this. So last year when I started doing some toy collecting and like kind of going through and figuring out like what do I want to do and trying to broaden on some toy lines. Obviously, listening to your show is always an inspiration of like, hey, what's next? And so I started going back and buying some toys that was like the first of. So I got the first Jurassic Park figure I'd ever got. I got a new one of that on card. And then I did that with Star Wars, obviously. So I got the deluxe Han Solo with Smuggler Pack or whatever it is.
Yes!
Yeah. And that was the first one I bought in the 90s. It was like new to me because this was right kind of leading up to the special editions, but a friend of mine, like his older brother was a huge Star Wars nut. Their dad was a Star Wars nut. And they're like, hey, you got to check these out, And so that's when the toys are in. They're like, yeah. And they got toys for him again now too. So we're like, okay, cool. So we went and watched the old CBS black covered. They actually had a beta player. So we watched them on beta,
cool.
Not VHS. So that was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Earlier.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say earlier last year is when I started collecting Star Wars again, because I was at Walmart and they had the Jabba the Hutt's little play set from the vintage collection or whatever for like, it was on clearance for $13. And I was like, I'd be stupid not to buy this, so I'm going to.
It's so cool. It comes with the Haunted Carbon. I went insane looking for that. It was so hard to find at first.
There were like 6 of them on clearance, and I was like, all right, sure, I'll get one. And then
I considered just taking it from Walmart. It was register locked.
Oh, I remember that. I remember watching you.
Ryan?
I remember the story and watching this. There was a video of it, wasn't there?
I think so. And I remember just being like, I want to go give a Walmart employee like $100 and be like, here, this is for you. I'm going to be taking this $20.
Yeah.
Thing. I'm not stealing it, but I need it. But yeah, I mean, I like that idea though of going back and like getting the stuff that was most sentimental to you like as a kid. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I can respect that. Was that the LP?
Yeah, that's the LP that released last year.
Whoa.
So that's the original CD.
Yeah.
Would you grab the CD off the shelf?
Where is it?
Wait,
Yeah.
whoa, back it up. They put out a vinyl?
Yeah, just last year they just released the score on vinyl.
Where do you
Maybe I
get
don't have it
that?
on the shelf now? I just got this on Target.com for $20.
Yeah, I have a copy of all this stuff as well. It's just at my house. I don't have the vinyl though.
Yeah,
Dude, how great is this soundtrack though?
Oh, it's so good, man. I can just throw that on the car and listen to it. But I'm a nerd like that, man. Like
It
in
is
the
such
car.
a precursor to Duel of Fates.
Oh yes. There's some good stuff in there.
Yeah, some of that stuff I was listening back just for some of the editing stuff I was going through and trying to get some snippets of the old N64 game sounds, and like I was just like, man, the way they worked in some of the old themes with the new music in here is pretty awesome. Like,
yeah,
it's still
it was great,
crazy.
And the fact that it was a big deal. I remember finding that, not knowing they released a soundtrack. This was when I was on a band trip in '96.
Nerd,
and I saw it and I had to get it. I didn't even know, like, it was just, there's a soundtrack to a book. Like, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it was unheard of. Like they were really just testing the waters to see what they could get away with, and
they got away with everything.
Pretty much, it's like, yeah, now just animate this as a series, right?
Oh man, if they did an animated movie of this would be great.
I was also in band, by the way. Hey, I just bought the vinyl. Well, you guys were
$20 in Target, free shipping, right?
Yep. I just bought it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, we got a record player. Like, I got a new record player literally today. Our old one was busted, and I wanted to get something new. And I do like collecting vinyl here and there, but more than anything, I like soundtracks and like special edition releases.
Yeah, I actually have the at least one of the '80s releases of the Star Wars original soundtrack on vinyl.
Oh,
I've got the really weird E.T. storybook with Michael Jackson on it for some reason.
Nice,
super out there.
Yeah, I have lots of soundtracks. I got a bunch of vintage ones, of course. Back to the Future, Goonies, all that fun stuff. Ghostbusters, of course.
Cool. Soundtracks are where it's at. Like I've got new and used copies of quite a few things. Back to the Future, obviously all the Ghostbusters, but that Ghostbusters 2 score needs to hurry up and drop, man.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. I know that
Randy Edelman.
It's retconned.
Yeah, Randy Edelman announced it on his website, so it's supposed to drop sometime this year. So we'll see how soon that happens.
I mean, I've been waiting for the Ghostbusters 2 score since, forever. Like, because we only have the snippets. Yeah, since 1989. Yeah. But I'm excited about the Shadows of the Empire. I mean, the artwork is awesome.
Yeah, the artwork
on here is totally. That's the beautiful thing about this is like they still went all traditional drawing.
Yep.
And
look, show them the back too.
Yeah, like once you get to the
great artwork.
Oh, that's fantastic. That is
fantastic. And you lost that when you started getting to the prequels and especially the new ones where it's like all just kind of like Photoshoppy mess, like trying to emulate what they did, but it's just easier and faster.
Yeah.
And
but
like
some of those
nothing...
old novels from the 90s had like these beautiful covers that could be posters.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember like the Courtship of Princess Leia novel. Like it had, Leia and Han, like a Rancor in the corner, and it just looked like all those old covers looked so good.
You could easily make a coffee table art book out of just the book covers from the 90s.
Oh, that's a good.
Oh, I'm sure Lucasfilm is
amazing.
listening, so they're going to make it now.
They'll know now. Yeah, I mean, Amazon, everyone knows what we're talking about and listening. They're all listening. Facebook's listening.
Make it happen.
They'll do something for it and not give us credit, but that's fine because they know we'll buy it.
If they ever decide to go back and just redo the posters for the sequels, I'll forgive them.
Tell you what, Disney, we'll give you another shot at that.
Yeah, we'll let you try again.
Just make new posters and we're fine.
Am I about to buy Shadows of the Empire on N64 now? I don't even have an N64.
Why would you grab the copy of N64 down there? It's on the bottom shelf.
I was going to say, there is actually a company that a few years ago released a version of the game that is a purple clear cartridge that comes on a card backing like this.
Oh, yeah.
I was just looking at that. That's very cool.
That's
cool
a legit company. I think they also did the Kevin Smith Mall Bash game. They did the Switch hard copy release of that. They specialize in special game releases like
a
that.
Special release thing. Mm-hmm. To me, so I'm not the biggest gamer in the world, but I mean, I always had systems growing up. The N64 packaging I'm so nostalgic for it. That rectangle cardboard box.
Oh yeah. Like this one's got like this particular case is like the rental style case.
Oh, cool.
It's got the instruction booklet in it, but when I went to buy it, and actually this may have been a rental based on that sleeve that's in there because, it's gorgeous to have all this stuff in these cases like that. Like that feels
Shadows
like
of the Empire, Killer Instinct Gold.
Oh, yeah. GoldenEye.
WCW, NWO Revenge, GoldenEye, all that stuff.
No Mercy.
No Mercy.
My friend had the Toys R Us exclusive gold controller for N64. And we played GoldenEye at his house, man. And like, you want to talk about like the envy of the N64 world. He's like, I've got the gold controller. And you're like, we bow down to you. Sir. You're better than us.
Did anyone else just make their palms raw from playing?
Oh yeah,
not with yourself, but with but playing like Mario Party.
Yeah,
like you had the games you had to right, and you're going crazy and
all that
you're like,
stuff.
Fuck. Dude,
that happened to me with like the PS2 stuff too. Like I ended up like wearing out all of the leather to the point where the leather was rubbing off, not the leather, the rubber or whatever on the old PS2 DualShock ones.
I'm glad they changed how we play video games, so we're not doing that anymore.
They changed how now you just can't get them.
Right.
There was a sign at Target today that said, due to safety concerns, we will no longer be issued. Like there was something about PS5 safety concerns. Like people were like fighting and all sorts of crazy.
Oh god.
Our stress was we got it done interviewing with Steve, and we were like, all right, you know what? Earlier I was on the Walmart website, and the Ghost Popper shows in stock at Blue Springs.
Two different stores by us.
Yeah. So let's go check those out. I went and checked the other one out earlier and couldn't get any help from the employees, and there were none out or anything.
Yeah.
So we got over to Independence, and of course there's none out or anywhere. And this is actually kind of thought of as I'll just say a lower income area. So the Walmart's very trashy. There's no other way to say it. Like it's just
the Independence one,
looks like,
so it's kind of like
looks like the end of the world, even though it's not in that Walmart hallways.
Okay.
So we're looking, we can't find it. We ask an employee. We're like, here's the little barcode. And when they scan it, all they can say is, oh, yeah, we have 2 of those in stock. We just put them out. I couldn't tell you where they are. They'll be in the toys. Have you looked in the gun section? And I'm just like.
Yeah, yes, that's what we just checked. We said we didn't see them on shelf. Can you check the back? Everything we got in toys, we don't keep any toys in the back. Everything that's toys is on the shelf is what they told us by more than one employee. And I'm like, yeah. That's fine. So then, like, I'm sure whoever's working, like, loss prevention's like, what the hell are these guys doing? Because we're, like, walking through the shelves, like, Hasbro box, not the right label. Hasbro, not label. Okay.
I mean, I got denied yesterday. I was at Walmart trying to open up a case of the archive figures I found. And lady's like, sir. I'm like, what? She's like, we cannot sell those till next week. And in my head, I'm like, actually, you're wrong because these aren't even street dated. Like, you turn it.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, toys.
Oh my God.
I know more than you do.
Yep.
Well, actually, your inventory is off by weeks. I want the Ghost Popper really bad. I'm trying to. Okay, let me ask you guys this. I am trying to have a new approach to toy buying this year. I got so stressed last year with the Kenner Classics where I was like, I'm not going to get them. They're going to be sold out and everybody. And now I don't know how your guys' Walmarts are, but they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
I saw one that like had like 4 pegs full and 2 boxes sitting on the shelf full. And I was like,
so as excited as I am about the Ghost Popper, and the reason I'm mostly excited about it is because since it's a re-release with the new color scheme. So to me, it's a new entry into the Kenner vintage toy line. Like this is a brand new thing. And it does seem like the Walmart's only maybe getting 2 or 3 of them. I'm trying to take a deep breath and say, you're going to find it. You don't need to have too much anxiety. Even though we host a show called Toy Anxiety.
I was about to say, my heart's beating fast. That's
I know.
Right
we
now.
start talking about it. You're like, like your
because I checked
like
today, it said like limited stock at a couple stores, and I did go to 2 Walmarts today that it said they had them, but they didn't.
Well, you need them. They're limited.
They're limited edition.
They're sitting in a box in the back somewhere. And
listen, we're all hardcore Ghostbusters fans, and we know that there's going to be a lot of Ghostbusters toy hunting this year. I mean, it's going to be. Actually, let me. It's over there. I got that new Stay Puft over there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's kind of goofy looking. I mean, I kind of like it. Though. It's kind of weird, but.
Yeah, I showed my kids. I was like, "Hey, do you guys like this?" And they're like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do you want it?" Yeah. So they got it and opened it and they messed around with it, but I don't know if the $5 price increase over the other toys, like the Darth Vader or Iron Man or whatever I've seen from that same Mighty's collection, is like
Or the Black Ranger. I think it was the Black Ranger one. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the Black Ranger actually.
But yeah, I think it's going to be a good year of buying toys, and I think that I'm trying to keep that balance because it's so, as much as I love modern toys, to me, there's nothing better than going to a vintage toy shop or a toy show.
Oh, for sure.
Buying the old stuff.
Yeah.
So
I do look forward to those Power Ranger. I still don't know if I'm going to get them just because they're kind of goofy looking. And even though the originals were very goofy looking as well, but the head flippers, you know?
Oh, the new, I completely
the Hasbro
forgot they're doing
Automorphin Rangers. Yeah.
I know. I've thought about it recently, and I'm like, I should start checking Walmarts for those. I don't know when those are supposed to come out, but
I don't know what I'm doing with Power Rangers. Like, there's part of me that just wants to be done with Lightning Collection because I've got all the original Rangers, got Rita, I've got Zed, Zordon, Alpha.
All I'm going with is the original for sure.
They need a Bulk and Skull figure.
They also, they need a Bulk and Skull and an Ivan Ooze.
Oh, if they do the movie figures, I'll be right back.
They need the youth center too.
And they do.
Yeah, may as well.
Yeah, the juice bar.
The juice bar.
That guy who runs it.
I think that would be great because you could just have the counter and just have the little dance floor area where they can do like hip hop, martial arts, and it would be freaking rad.
I'll tell you what, we've got. Yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, I think the thing that really stresses you out though the most is content creators. Like you want to have the new stuff just to have it in your hands and show people that it's coming. And like when you got to go toy hunt for it, it just makes it worse because you're like, well, what if someone beats me to it? Like, what do we do now? Like, we want to share the love on it, but
it's top of mind for sure. I mean, there is that sense, like, the ghost. We talk about this all the time. The Ghostbusters community is small compared to something like Star Wars. Like, there's not a lot of, and even Yes Have Some's not. I don't even know how to describe what we do. It's very Ghostbusters centric. I think everything we do is through the lens of Ghostbusters, but we cover a lot more ground than just Ghostbusters. But there's not really, when you think about Star Wars, you've got, just Star Wars action figures. There's 20 legit outlets.
Oh, for sure.
Star Wars media, you've got podcasts, you have YouTube channels with literally Star Wars Theory has almost 3 million subscribers.
Yeah, that's what's funny. I emailed him and was like, hey, you want to come talk Shadows of the Empire with us? And it's funny that he didn't email me back, but Steve Perry did, the guy who wrote it, and was like, sure, I'll come on.
Right. And it's interesting. And like one thing I've learned over the years is give people the benefit of the doubt. Because like I consider YHS small potatoes, and I get hit up every morning. I wake up and I've got 10 to 15 messages from different sources, and I try to get back to everybody. Sometimes it's podcast requests. People ask questions that I don't know anything more about toys than other people. I just act like I do.
Yeah.
I put on a show. But getting back to what I was saying,
I know more
Ryan
than
knows so much more.
Yeah, that's probably accurate though, Ryan. I don't think we're going to dispute that.
Ryan knows a lot about toys. And he's also a very nice person, but also an asshole. So it's like it's really interesting talking to him.
Yeah, it's he's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong.
One of my favorite moments of this year was after the Mandalorian, the episode 8. I won't spoil it if anybody didn't see it for some reason, but I watched it at 3 a.m. East Coast and then called Ryan afterwards. So it's 4:30 in the morning on a school night, and I'm like, dude, and Ryan's like crying, and I'm like,
yeah. Oh, I was a mess. I'm like, he's trying to talk, and I'm like,
hyperventilating.
Yeah. Oh man, I was a hot mess after that episode 8, but in like the best way.
Best possible way. It was such a good release.
Yeah, but I was so emotionally overwhelmed with happiness, and that's such a great feeling to have.
But yeah, so getting back to what I was saying, like, when you've got that much in the fandom content, and then there's a bunch of other Star Wars YouTube channels that have 50,000 subscribers, 80,000 subscribers.
Oh, yeah.
Half of these people are just making stuff. Have you seen the guy who every day posts a video about Rey Kenobi and gets like 100,000 views? It's like, what is it? He's like, they are currently doing a 4-hour version of Rise of Skywalker. I'm like, no, they're not. They aren't doing that. Nobody's putting out a 4-hour version of Rise of Skywalker. But the thing about Ghostbusters, I mean, there's Ghostbusters News, which is probably the biggest. And maybe he has 25, 30,000 YouTube subscribers, whatever. And that's the biggest, that's it. So it's the one thing I would say about Ghostbusters, though, it has such a broad appeal to the everyday. That's what it really has in common with Star Wars, is that the tight-knit hardcore fan community is it's more of a limited scope. But when a new Ghostbusters movie comes out, everybody loves Ghostbusters. Like you're hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't like the movie Ghostbusters. So I don't remember why we started making these original points, but I'm having fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's content worth creating is basically what it is.
Yeah, no.
That's what it was. It was do you want to be the first person? So like I did a ton of like box breaking videos on YouTube this year on the channel, and it was fun, but I got to the point where I was like, opening action. Okay, this sounds really lame.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very cathartic thing for me to buy a toy and open it and look at it and display it, that I was enjoying it less.
Because you're doing it on
because
film?
It's like you're recording it and you have to kind of like put on a little bit of a show and talk about articulation. I don't care about articulation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not what is Ryan.
You're not a joint queen.
I'm not a joint queen. As Ryan says. And then to be like, oh, look at the ankles, and I'm like, what I want to be like is I don't care that his ankles are moving. I can give a fuck. But I know it's really important to some people, but I do enjoy the toy hunting, and I do.
Oh yeah,
that's me and more of my natural state, being able to be out there and just like react and hunt and all that stuff. So I'm going to continue doing that. But yeah, there'll be anytime I think I'm the first person to get a toy, there's 6 other channels that have already reviewed it. Like a month ago.
Yeah.
So
Craig is
like,
a hunter, not a shower. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. Like even if I wanted to be the first, I couldn't because I'm Canadian.
Yeah,
and
you're not allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah, we get everything months later. Like we finally just got a wave of Black Series figures up here that have been down up. Like what? That came out right after lockdown? I guess,
so
Craig, is that right?
6 to 8 months behind
Say it
on
again.
some of those?
Say it again.
That wave, that episode 2 wave, Kit Fisto and all those guys. Like that came out
May or
months
June.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they finally just started showing up here.
Right.
And
Yeah.
usually nothing else is really that late. Usually we're like a month behind, but for those it was weird. So that happened. So you can never be first in Canada.
Yep. You're going to get your COVID vaccine in like 6 years.
Okay, so we'll be first in that.
Oh, right.
Right, but you still have Toys R Us, though, so you got that.
That's true. We do, and it's great. Imagine being able to go there and just being like, hey, look at me, I'm at Toys R Us. You can't.
So jealous.
But I can.
When I drive past the old Toys R Us signs, I get so... I actually become hard on myself because I'm like, you did not appreciate what you had.
I worked at...
Actually, I'm going to call you a liar on that one, Craig. I think you fully appreciated what you had when you had it.
I mean, me and Abby would go to Toys R Us 2 or 3 times a week. Like, we would just
That's
go
what I mean.
for something to do. But I hardly ever bought anything. It's weird. I didn't buy that much.
You are part of the problem then. Forget it.
Toys R Us was always a little bit overpriced.
Yeah, but that's what you're looking at. You're like, is it worth it overpriced to get it now, or do you want to go do the hunt, right? I was always conflicted, especially with like the Answer the Call merch. You're like, do I buy this now and risk not getting it later and pay more, or what?
Oh, I cleared Toys R Us out with that.
Oh, yeah.
Answer the Call merch. I bought it all ×2.
Oh, yeah. I was all over, man. Like, I still have like a big stack of the stickers, the logo stickers, like just sitting in a box somewhere. I'm like,
that's one of the theories of mine. I was very uninvested in Ghostbusters when Answer the Call came out, and not because of Answer the Call, just because the last couple of years it was one of those phases where, you know, you've been through them in your life where you're just like, for a little while. I've collected that stuff for 10 years and I have a bunch of it, and I'm still going to display it and like it, but I'm not going to do anything new with it.
Right.
And then Answer the Call came out, and I didn't do anything up. I mean, I watched the trailer online, then I went and saw it, and I liked it. And I think I liked it and like it more than other people simply because of that dip. Your
emotional investment was so low.
I wasn't insane about it. But it's just one of those funny things with that toy line and everything is I didn't get any of those toys. So now I've been looking back like, ooh, I acquired the action figures from him because he didn't want them anymore. And I was like, ooh, I will take those.
You know what, though? Those toys kind of sucked.
They did.
Like,
well, they
I got
have
the ones that were like, I got like the minis that came out.
Yeah.
Remember they had like
the Ecto minis. Yeah.
Like I ended up getting those. I don't know why. I think it's I felt like I needed to buy something, but it was like, I don't know.
I thought that the the main figures were pretty cool. Like the main 4 that they put out.
Yeah,
they're
I like
pretty
them.
One's looking
comparable.
this way and looking that way.
Well, if you could
Same face.
there were some QC issues, but like I've got them on display with my Maddie collector figures, and they fit pretty well with that line.
Do you make them kiss? I would make them kiss.
Yeah, I make them.
I make them do more than kiss.
I'm making them
Oh.
kiss. And I thought the Builder-Roan was pretty good. Those kids folk, I can't even call it a line, but the other 3 figures, the Mayhem, the Light Up Rowan, and the Light Up Stay Puft were, they're kind of cheap, but it's just weird to think how full circle we've come that we, I mean, without being cynical about I do believe Ghostbusters was going to come out in June. I really do. Because I do buy into the shelf life of these movies, and I don't know, the longer you wait, the less interested people are going to be.
Yeah, people are going to say, like, either you're not, you don't feel that strongly about it or what. So,
yeah.
I don't know. The other thing was he was talking to Answer the Call. I think for me, that's one of those movies, though, that once you realize, like, Katie Dipple, the co-writer on that, was basically our age, and she grew up watching the real Ghostbusters. If you watch that as, like, a real Ghostbusters movie and not a Ghostbusters flick, you got a whole different, like, light on it, just because the comedy style is very child-oriented, a little more family-friendly for me, so... When I watch it through that lens, it's a little more enjoyable. But...
Oh, maybe I should do that, because that's what when I watch Batman and Robin now, I watch it through the lens of as if I'm watching Batman 66 with a giant budget.
Yeah, that's the same concept.
With that, that movie is so much better. Like when you think of it that way, like it's so much fun to watch. So yeah, maybe I should do that with Answer the Call, because it's easy enough to do that.
Yeah.
Now that you said that, I can now actually see that.
Yeah, because the way she wrote some of the gags in there and everything else, and like I think she's very close to at least Craig's and I's age, so she grew up on the real Ghostbusters, which is why she took the writing job, I think. And so that makes more sense that she probably saw that more than she actually saw the Ghostbusters movie. So I see much more influence from the cartoon than I ever do from the first movies.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll always have nostalgic ties to that movie because it was the existence of that movie is why we started Yes Have Some. Because we wanted kind of a channel to voice our try to have open-minded discussions about it. But yeah, it's just crazy to think where we are now. I mean, it's been 5 years, which is crazy. And to know that after 30 years, we're going to get the real Ghostbusters 3. And it's still kind of really shrouded in mystery. We got the trailer and we don't really know much else about it. And the fact that that's been over a year now, and we're it's 5 months from today that it's supposed to come out. And COVID is COVID, and it hopefully gets better. But I don't think they're going to move off that date because it is a prime date, and it is the Ghostbusters Day or Ghostbusters Week. And I also read that Wonder Woman is just doing very poorly VOD. Like in Canada, it only made $7 million. Like it's kind of considered a big old flop. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
interesting.
Well, in Canada, we can go still do stuff, right? So why would we?
Right. But anyways, long story short, I just think that it's an exciting time to be a Ghostbusters fan for sure. I still have those butterflies and those what ifs and those.
Oh yeah,
my mind's always wondering, trying to figure out this what this thing's going to be.
We had a week or two ago. What was that? We had a screening with our local Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we have a
group.
local theater here that's like locally owned, and we took everyone out, and 2 different nights we rented the theater and did Ghostbusters 2 showing on the big screen, 4K.
Oh,
that's cool. Because usually when they replay the movies, it's always the first one. I always kind of wish the theaters would do a re-release showing of Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that in theater since being a kid. I'm like, Ghostbusters I've seen on the big screen so many times now. I'm just like...
Right. One time we went to a screening of Ghostbusters locally, and it was like at some small, like, locally owned theater. It was just the 1999 DVD. And I knew that's what the transfer was because we got there and it was the
DVD menu?
The menu with Staples.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was like, at least play the commentary where they did like the Mystery Science Theater commentary with Harold Ramis and Ivan Reitman.
Fun fact, that was actually the first DVD I ever bought was Ghostbusters on DVD because, like, they touted all the special features for it. And I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I don't normally want to drop this much on something, but I'll do that. So
American Pie was my first DVD.
I think mine was Wild Things.
Wild Things. My family.
We know where you're going. Ryan was horny back then.
we got a DVD player in 1999 for Christmas, and each member of my family got a movie. So I got American Pie, and my mom got Pretty Woman, and then my stepdad got Saving Private Ryan, and my brother got The Outsiders.
We had something similar to that, and I got Wild Wild West. So.
Oh, dude!
Wild Wild West.
That movie needs to make a like. Where's the sequel?
We're about
the
to
legacy sequel to that.
Cover it soon here because I keep trying to be like, "Hey guys, we should cover Wild Wild West," and they're like, "No, that's awful." And I'm
Jim
like,
West,
"But that's why
Desperado.
It's good."
Yes, it's so good. It's so
I remember the
fun.
song when he says, "Who you gonna call? Not the GBs," and I was like, "Whoa, sick reference!" Will
Shots
Smith
fired.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna do the new one. He's probably gonna be in Ghostbusters 3. Let's face it.
I hope he does the song for it.
I hope he does the song for The Matrix. Oh, too soon?
Hey, but he's in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, we all know how that one went.
Yeah, sure is. He's in that, all right. Anyway, appreciate you guys coming on. I guess we can get off here because we're just kind of rambling now.
No, this was fun. I'm excited. I bought that vinyl, and I will be on eBay tonight scrolling, looking for figures. I at least want to get the Dash Rendar figure, and I like the Luke and like the Imperial disguise.
Yeah,
that's fine as long as you don't buy anything that I have in my watch list. That's cool.
Yeah,
just let me know because I've been buying. I would not want to look at how much money I've spent on toys last year. It was insane. It was the only thing to do. There was nothing to do except for buy toys. So
yeah, and then they're stimulating us with the economy, and you're like, toys.
Yeah,
All right,
my stimulus check.
Yeah,
Put it in my Amazon account.
Yeah,
just put it in my Hasbro Pulse.
Yeah.
No, I did ask. I was wondering if there's a way I can get the stimulus check forwarded to Sideshow. So I got a couple Hot Toys payment plans. I got Mando and the Child coming.
Oh, nice. That'll be awesome.
And my new fixation over the last couple of months has been Star Wars autographs. So that's.
We've noticed.
Yeah, we've noticed that when you opened you had the money shot card, and you basically like blacked out.
It was. I don't remember that moment happening, but I know it happened. Because
there's evidence.
The video. There's evidence, but that was literally the best moment of my life.
I think it was great. Yeah, that's the closest thing I've ever seen to an out-of-body experience, like caught on film. Like, if there's a chance that there's ghosts, I think we saw that the spirit of Harrison Ford came out and touched you, and then you woke back up to reality.
And he said, "I want my family back."
Right. I didn't kill my wife. I love Han Solo. Like, it's just the greatest character of all time. And Harrison Ford's he's the best. And also there's that little thing, knowing that how Harrison Ford kind of feels about Star Wars, and knowing that while he's signing those cards, he's probably like
grumpy old man.
Like,
what the fuck am I doing here?
And also he only, for the entire set, there's only, I think 7 signed Harrison or Han Solo cards in that whole set. So there's the 5 silver framed ones, and then there's 1 gold framed one, and then there's 1 other one. So I definitely felt like I hit the lottery. But yeah, I don't know. I love it. Love Star Wars.
Awesome.
I love Harrison Ford.
He's the best.
I love grumpy Harrison Ford.
I love how much he likes Indiana Jones more than Star Wars, which I don't.
And it's the same thing.
Yes, it's the exact opposite for most of us.
He smashed one of Conan's writers' Lego Millennium Falcon on stage one time.
I love that.
I love it when he does stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's great.
But you know what? And I'll keep rambling. But I loved when Force Awakens was coming out, and how much it almost felt like it hit him. Like, hey, this is important. People love it, and to see the way he talked about getting back together, working with Peter Mayhew and stuff, I think that was really special.
Yeah, I get.
Or even when
vibes.
he talks about Carrie, I really like that too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think you're getting the same vibes like Bill Murray for Afterlife, right? You're getting that nostalgic feel where they're for so long they wanted to disassociate themselves from something that was so magical to them that now they're at a point where they can truly appreciate what it is with the passage of time.
I don't think any of us are ready to see these guys.
No.
I mean, when you see Ernie Hudson say that he got emotional on set just seeing them, you're like, the hell are we gonna do?
Yeah, I don't want to be on camera for my first viewing.
I'm gonna need
Afterlife.
tissues for both reasons that you need tissues. When I see that,
I'm probably gonna shit my pants.
I mean, I don't know, when I watched the Afterlife trailer, I was like, all right, here we go. My heart's like pounding. And it was probably 10 seconds in, I lost it, because it's the part of it's you're seeing something you never thought you would see. So there's like that surreal, like out of body type of thing. But then like you're putting the pieces together in your head, like they did it. They finally did this thing that I've been like hoping and wishing for. And I had an emotional reaction to Answer the Call the first time I saw it. So this is going to be another level, unless it sucks. Wouldn't that be the most the ironic thing ever? Like, wow, 30 years.
Wow, I sure miss Answer the Call all of a sudden.
Oh, God. Could you imagine that? Let's not curse Jason Reitman yet. I mean, he's made a lot of good movies, so.
Oh,
no, he's a badass.
I don't want to kick him at all.
We're just taking the piss out of it. I think he's gonna nail it.
I think he's got that swagger. I think he knows he nailed it. And I do have this feeling that, they were trying so hard and finally he just stepped in and was like, Dad, I'll just do it.
I think he's probably like, look, I got an idea that'll work. I worked with you on the original stuff. Like, he's got that inside path to greatness. I think that we're all been waiting for.
Well, we'll have to do this
Prodigal
again.
Son.
Yeah.
And like we said, like last week we covered Men in Black, and we were just talking like, if you go back and watch Men in Black, that's what Ghostbusters 3 would have been in the 90s. Like all the effects, like all the slime shots, all the
the combination
bugs,
of
like everything there. So like, if you would have been really happy with that versus where we're at now.
Oh, we dodged a bullet by not getting Ghostbusters.
Oh, yes, we did.
Screw that. I would love to see Chris Farley with a proton pack.
Well, I mean,
he'd have had to been a ghost because he OD'd. Oh shit.
Oh, again. When did he? No, wait. When did he OD?
He died in like 98, 99.
98, 99. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we could have still got one like 96. We could have got Adam Sandler, Chris Rock,
David Spade.
I would still take David Spade. I would take David Spade as a Ghostbuster.
That's what I'm saying. If you have Chris Farley, I would love to just see David Spade in there with him because they work so well together.
Yeah.
I wish I would have also gotten another movie that starred Steve Martin and John Candy together, but one's enough too.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man, John Candy.
I was so
legend.
I'll end on this, or I won't. You guys tell me. But
you're stuck here.
Steve Martin, Father of the Bride 1 and 2 are two of my favorite movies of all time. And when they did that Father of the Bride reunion this year, I was so annoyed because I was like, no, it needs to be a movie. Don't give me this damn Zoom shit. I can do Zoom.
Yeah, that's what we felt when we watched the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion. We're like, why didn't you just do an episode?
I felt the same with the Parks and Rec thing they did. I was just like,
see, I think Parks and Rec will probably come back at some point. That to me feels like they can bring that back and it would be fairly seamless.
Yeah.
The Fresh Prince thing was I'm like, you got the set. At least do a couple scenes.
Right.
Yeah, at least do the intro or just do 5 minutes worth of a skit or something. But
just do a movie. They should just do a Fresh Prince movie.
Yeah. I want a Family Matters reunion too. I want it all. I don't want anything new. Bring all my old shit back. It's usually not good when they do that.
Okay, so before we end here, we have to talk about Family Matters. If they were going to do a movie, would you have it so that we see Urkel's basement still and he still has that transformation machine?
No. You have to retcon the last 5 seasons of Family Matters.
That's a lot of work.
You're just taking out Urkel completely, basically.
No, we don't need
a side character
Stefan.
again.
We don't need time travel. We don't need a transport. Family Matters became Star Trek by the end.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. It got really weird. I remember it getting super weird.
It got really bad is what you're saying.
Yeah, that too. But it'd be kind of cool. They could cross over with Fuller House and Elf. It'd be great.
I have to ask one last question. How much are these 2-packs? These Shadows of the Empire 2-packs. What should I not pay more than $30 for these?
I would say you could probably get them for $20.
Okay.
Yeah, with or without the free shipping is the big piece for me because
most of these, each figure in box, you could probably get for less than $10 easily. I mean,
I'm gonna go to my local shop first because I know they got some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I've noticed with eBay in the last year really is that in order to get more money out of stuff, people are just charging more for shipping and not doing free shipping instead of paying the eBay percentage. So it's more and more so than it used to be. And I'm I'm so used to free shipping now. I'm offended. I'm like, you want $10 to ship that?
Right.
And you're like, well, that's really not that bad, but I
No,
just
'cause
stop
I've
at
been-
it every
but-
time.
Yeah, I mean, I got screwed a couple times. Like shipping has gone so far up. Like I don't like if you have to ship priority to the West Coast, like
Oh,
if it's
yeah.
a box bigger than like a normal action figure. Like, anyways, this is where we've gotten to. At the
Yes.
end, they talked about the mail for 20 minutes.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. The mail is important.
Well, really appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Appreciate your expertise, and thanks for the inspiration. Obviously, we wouldn't have started this show without all the work YHS has done, and the cross trip too. We'll shout out those fellas as well. But I know Ryan, you're the kindred spirit that crosses the bridges amongst the Canadians to the Americans. Boy,
You really are.
You got a lot.
I am the nucleus. I connect.
You're like the wandering
things.
man.
Yes. Yes.
Well, we appreciate it, guys, and I think it's amazing that you're doing what you're doing. And like what I always tell people is like, if you have a podcast that goes longer than like 4 episodes, you've done more than most, Calgary-based podcasts ever will. So.
Oh man, are we gonna go there for the last minute?
We're about 3 months away from a year, so we don't feel too bad.
That's amazing. No, that's amazing. Like I think like it's such hard work. And just being able to sit here and just shoot the shit and have fun and make it fun and entertaining, like it's awesome. So I appreciate that you guys are doing it.
The next time we all get together, we should let people join us if they donate, and then we'll put them in a raffle, and they can have pizza with us. And
Stop it. There's no pizza donation. No, but seriously, I think it's great. And like congratulations on almost hitting a year. That's awesome.
The next one should be a collaboration mukbang, because mukbang's all about it on some YouTube. So we'll eat pizza. And you just got to eat really sloppy ass pizza. Maybe dip it in a bunch of ranch or whatever your thing is of choice. You get really sloppy, ASMR.
ranch.
Turn up the mic.
Thing of choice, just macaroni and cheese.
Hey,
just dip your pizza in there.
Those YouTube views don't lie.
They don't.
That's true.
Oh, it's crazy. It's absolutely.
I'm gonna start a mukbang channel now.
All right, guys. Well, take care. We'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks,
we'll
guys.
see you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Peace. So, how was that interview? Did you like that? That was pretty nice, wasn't it? It's pretty interesting.
Very
It's
nice.
Pretty fun. Good times.
Big
Thank
shout
you.
out to Craig Goldberg and
Ryan Doell. What are you looking at? You don't know his fucking name?
No, I was going to have you say it so we could split it, but whatever.
You were just looking at me
Ryan
like
Doell.
all of a sudden dumbfounded.
Nope.
It looked like.
Those guys are on the Yes Have Some Toy Anxiety show. They do those Tuesday nights live on YouTube and everywhere else, so you can find them at YHS. Ryan Dole's, I believe, just at Ryan Dole.
Yeah, they're at YHS Podcast, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely check out their YouTube and subscribe. They do Toy Anxiety, I believe, live every Tuesday night now. I think at 9 p.m. if I'm not mistaken. I just did a bumper for you guys. That was pretty cool. Other than that, they release podcasts pretty frequently, and you should go check out their podcast. There's a lot of back-ordered podcasts. I don't know, back-ordered, but a backlog.
they have a nice back catalog
5 years.
of podcasts if you're looking. Yeah, they just started on their year number 5 here.
Yeah.
And a big shout out to the Interdimensional Cross Rip, who actually started their 7th year of podcasting this year. So that's pretty awesome to be on their 2nd Ghostbusters movie in 7 years.
Yep.
Good stuff. So thanks for leading the way. Thanks for carving the path for our foul mouths to come in and
fuck it all up.
Fuck everything up for everybody because we don't know when to shut up.
We're just the drunk uncle at the party, man.
If basically we're going to give ratings for this, I would say Interdimensional Cross Rip is basically one of those podcasts that's, broad audience. They're very, very kind to everybody. I would say they're
PG rating.
PG, yeah. A little parental guidance. Once in a while, they'll almost have a thought that's PG-13. Then you go to the YHS group, and, they're going to follow that category, like I said earlier. They're going to be your PG-13 to rated R, and then we're rated R to NC-17. So, I mean,
pretty much.
We say what we want, when we want. And, you don't have to agree with us, but we're here to keep it real. Real fucking foul.
Well, that's it this week. See you guys next week. We got a big guest next week, so you're not going to want to miss that if you are at all a fan of Batman the Animated Series, Real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
If you like books based on movies, the movie adaptations. Adaptation.
Adaptation.
Adaptation. There's several ways to say that. It's like roads,
That's
roads,
Rudes.
roads. Yeah. So you're gonna like it. We got none other than
Steve Perry.
Author of Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
Amongst
a legend.
other things, like his list.
It was crazy. We'll go through it next week with you.
Yeah, we'll cover that next week. In the meanwhile, do your own research, but you're gonna like the way you look.
It's not Steve Perry from Journey.
Yeah.
It's that's the joke where Steve Perry from basketball, but no, he'll be on next week. You can look forward to that.
All right, kids. We'll see you soon. Take care.
These are my
Crazy
dinner
shit.
guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.